Today on the Gundam Watch, we're going to talk about Gquuuuuux or Gquuuuuux or, I don't know, a Wi-Fi router or something.
General Romeo coming in, begin transmission. Should you accept it now, here's your mission. Take your pilot seat and turn on your television. Logging into the Gundam Watch. What is a Gundam? We're gonna answer that question. From back in the classics to the newer expansion. Explore the lore with Dallas Moore and Branson. Welcome to the Gundam Watch. Moyagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Tachiagare, come and join the Gundam Watch. Yamigaeru, come and join the Gundam Watch. Tomeo, Gandamu, come and join the Gundam Watch. Brought to you by Geek Devotions comes another podcast to keep your feet in motion. Listening close and see what's all the commotion. Logging into the Gundam Watch. Dallas and Branson bringing their fandom to you with the passion of the veteran instructing the new. We're diving deep, but this ain't B's Views and Reviews. Welcome to
Hello Gundam fans and those who would like to be, welcome to the Gundam Watch, a podcast as part of the Geek Devotions Podcast Network. Network of podcasts are devoted to letting people know that they're loved, so if you don't watch past this moment, know this, we love you, care about you, there is a plan and purpose for your life, do not give up. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited because we're going to be finally talking about the premiere episode, the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Gquuuuuux. It's a really interesting name to say the least, but I'm really excited about to talk about this new series that's come out to help us through the conversation. We're going to break it up into two sections. One part's going to be just kind of the general conversation about the vibes, the feel of it. They're going to talk about the art and the music, and then we're getting to some spoiler sections on the back end where I give you some more details about the actual story itself. And so if you're like, I don't want spoilers, well, I want to encourage you, pause this podcast and go and check out the show itself. It is on Amazon Prime right now. At least as the recording of this episode. So let's jump into it. First off, we need to talk about the fact that this is produced by Sunrise and Studio Kara, the same people who brought you Evangelion. And it definitely shows as you watch this show. The direction is handled by Kazuya Tsumahi. I apologize for butchering your name, but basically, he worked on Evangelion. And the writing team features Yoji Inokido, who is known for Sailor Moon and O-Run High School Host Club, and the one and only Hideko Anno, who worked on Shin Godzilla. This is a packed team that has done a lot of great things in the past. A lot of stuff that I really enjoyed, that Celeste enjoyed, and a lot of stuff that some of you may be very, very well invested in. Like I said, it's a great team that's come together to build this new world that we're looking at. Now, visually, it's really interesting. It's done by an illustrator named Take. At least I think that's how you're pronouncing his name, who worked on Evangelion, but also Pokemon Horizons. And when you take that into account, his fingerprints are all over this show. The art is beautiful and stunning. The way that he contrasts light and shadows, and the figures are in different areas, and then the explosion of colors in certain scenes, even down to the details of the coloring of the main character's eyes and hair. It's beautiful. It's genuinely a gorgeous thing to watch. There are some scenes I genuinely just want to cut out and have them as a background because they're just beautiful pieces of art. Now, this series, again, is doing what a lot of Gundam series, a lot of modern animes do anyways, is combining the 2D with 3D. And honestly, it wasn't terrible. There were a couple times there was a little bit jarring, a little bit off, but there are other times where it was actually quite beautiful, especially when it was bringing you out to see the vastness of the colony that the people are living in this particular anime. The music score was done by Yoshimasa, who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen, and one of my personal favorites, High Score Girl, which was a really interesting video game. It was almost like a love letter to video games, honestly. It was a really fascinating anime. And he does this particular one, and it shows, again, it's really fascinating to see the artists of everything and their fingerprints embedded in this particular anime. And the music of this, it was really fascinating at times in that there was this bubbly poppy sound going on, especially when you had the younger protagonist, but then the use of stopping music at the right moment, allowing for a moment to breathe with this almost this symphonic music taking place in the background. It was really well done, and it kept the whole show moving. Like, this is a very fast-paced show as a whole, as you follow along with the story. Now it's time for the spoiler section. This particular show is fascinating. Unlike other ones where they kind of pop up with the some sort of detail about what the world is, what you're entering into. This one doesn't do that. It doesn't give you a time frame as if it's in one of the mini stories of the Universal Century. It doesn't give you a quick little brief history of the world. It just kind of throws you in. But as it throws you into the story, there are things that characters begin to say left and right that are fascinating. And honestly, I kept having to pause to think through life because I'm going, wait a minute. This sounds so familiar, but so wrong. As the story progresses, you begin to realize that this is actually an alternate universe to the Universal Century, where the Principality of Zeon actually won the 1-year war. Now, the story takes place mostly on Side 6, a colony that is sovereign, independent. It's not necessarily sided with Zeon, but they have a peace treaty with Zeon. And so because of this, it's kind of running its own thing. It has its own military police and its own faction taking place. This has also become a colony, though, of refugees, where a lot of people who just, the refugees from the 1-year war have settled. And they seem to be looked down upon, the refugees. The military police openly have a whole fight scene in the slums, and they just don't care because it's just refugees. Also taking place in this world is Zeon is actively looking for the pilot of the Gundam. Which Gundam? The Red Gundam. And you're going, Dallas, there's no Red Gundam in the Universal Century. But who pilots red mobile suits, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. Char Aznavold. In this alternate universe, Char is the pilot of the Gundam, and he seems to have done something during the 1-year war. We're not really given a lot of things, but we are told that Cecilia, his sister who worked for the Federation, is actively looking for him. And she seems to be in charge of Zeon now. My mind, as a Gundam fan, was exploding as I watched this first episode and kept seeing things pop up in this world because there are all these rumors from the first year, from the 1-year war. There's people that have just basically collected junk parts, and they've started this whole thing of underground mobile suit fights. They called them clan battles. And they're all decommissioned. They don't necessarily aren't armed with any major armaments or anything like that. So they just don't care. Like, Zeon's just like, all right, it's just junk. We don't care. Even the military police are just like, this is stupid. Well, that's where we now get into the story with our protagonists. At least one of our protagonists. There are going to be 3 in the series that we focus on. But in this particular episode, it focuses around this one young lady. This young lady's name is Amate, who grew up in Side 6. And while she's lived here all her life, she feels like she's lost. She feels like she's missing something. A lack of freedom is in her life. And on accident, while she's just kind of traveling around, she runs into another young lady, and it accidentally pulls her into this world of the underground mobile suit fights. And right as she's starting to figure out how these things work and what's taking place, there's suddenly a large battle taking place in the colony. Does this feel very familiar to anybody else who watched the original Gundam series? There's a fight between Char Aznavold in the Red Gundam and in Zeon's very own Gundam, the Gquuuuuux, or Gquuuuuux is how they pronounced it in the show. Zeon created their own Gundam called the Gquuuuuux, and it's a high-powered mobile suit with a special system. And I can't remember the exact name that they called it, but I can't help but wonder if it's somehow related to the Psycho frame technology from the other Gundam series in the past. That being said, it seems to be a computer chip that plugs into the Gundam itself and activates this new powerful mode. And in the midst of the fight between Char and this other pilot of the Gundam, of the Gquuuuuux, Amate takes over the Gquuuuuux. She gets in it and she begins to fight off because the military police are just going to town everywhere. And she activates something very special in the Gquuuuuux, and she takes out the military police. And that's where the episode ends. Overall, this first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Gquuuuuux was fun. It was fast-paced. It was exciting. I enjoyed it. It was visually beautiful. And I'm looking forward to more. And I hope that we get more out of it. I'm going to echo one of our guys from our Discord channel, Mikase, and say this. There's a lot to this world, and we hope that it gets the episodes it needs to tell the story it's trying to tell. Because it feels like there's a whole lot here, and I am genuinely fascinated to see what they do with this alternate timeline. And with that, I'm going to end with one final major point, and that is simply this. I officially believe that every Haro should wear a beanie, because that dude was freaking awesome. I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on the brand new Mobile Suit Gundam Gquuuuuux? Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, or reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. If you're checking us out on the Gundam Watch stuff, reach us on Facebook and Instagram. Look for the Gundam Watch. But if you're watching on Geek Devotions, check out geekdevotions.com and find us Geek Devotions on all the other social media platforms that are out there. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.